Good evening. This is the Duchess of Darkness. Tonight, I'll be reading home invasion stories. So get comfortable, but don't forget to lock your door and bolt your windows. Me and my cousin Ellie are very close. We always did everything together and have been mistaken as twins a lot. We would always do sleepovers when we were teens, so when Ellie invited me to her house, I immediately said yes. Once I got there with $30 from babysitting, we headed to the corner store to stock up on snacks. My aunt trusted us as we were 13, and it was only a block away. When we got in, we noticed a guy about mid-30s in the corner just staring at Ellie. We just ignored him and got our snacks and left. When we were walking back, Ellie dropped one of the bags, so I picked it up and noticed the guy from the corner store walking in our direction. I thought it was weird, so I whispered it to Ellie to not look back and to just walk to her house, which was across the street by this point. When we got there, we told my aunt and uncle, who were shocked, so they locked the doors and windows and pulled down the blinds. I opened the window because it was in the middle of Michigan summer. Me and Ellie watched Murder, She Wrote until I heard the faintest crunching of leaves in the front yard. I turned off the TV and told Ellie to go get her dad, who said it might have been a raccoon, but he slept in the room next to us just to be safe. At around 1 a.m., I woke up to Ellie screaming and saw her being dragged out the open window by the guy we saw at the store. I yelled for my uncle, who came in and grabbed Ellie and ran back outside chasing the guy. I grabbed Ellie, ran upstairs, and called the police, who arrested the guy. It turns out he had been stalking Ellie for weeks and was planning on kidnapping her, and had an entire collection of things he took from her and pictures he took of her without asking. I still lock all my windows. My aunt had recently gotten divorced and had just bought a new house in a new city. She originally lived in a big city in Tennessee and moved to a little quiet town. She invited us to come stay. My mom, dad, older sister, and I were from Indiana. So we planned a trip to go stay. My cousins are just a bit younger than I am. I remember arriving and thinking that it was kind of a creepy little town that had an eerie feel to it. There was no one around, very few cars, and no kids playing in the neighborhood. It's the first night there, and we all get settled in to go to sleep. My parents take my aunt's room. My aunt sleeps in one of my cousin's room. I sleep in one of my cousin's room with her, and my sister sleeps in the living room with my other cousin. It's probably around 2 a.m., and my cousin and I are still up talking. We start hearing like a knock coming from the outside wall. We think it's just the wind, considering their backyard is fenced in. I then mentioned to her how I felt like I was being watched, and she commented that she did too, so we assumed it's just my sister and cousin spying on us. We're all between 10 and 16 years old. A little while, probably 30 minutes later, I hear my sister from the living room quietly calling for my aunt in a shaky voice. Although I'm the younger sister, I'm also the more protective sister, so I go running in the living room to see what's wrong, and she points to the back door. I look over, and we can clearly see the doorknob and door shaking violently. I run and get my aunt. As soon as she turned on the lights, the door stopped moving. We go get my parents, and my dad goes outside and checks the whole house and finds scratches on the back door around the handle. It's creepy to think that this person was probably watching my cousin and I for a while. before he decided to break in. I'm just thankful he didn't actually get in. We're also not sure how he got in the fence. It's a decently tall wooden fence with no gate. Needless to say, I didn't sleep the rest of that trip. I don't think anyone did. I was lucky enough to live in a large house when I was a kid. My father was a physical therapist. My house had a side room towards the back side of the first floor. My siblings called it the second living room because that's basically what it was. It had an old recliner, a small table, and a mid-sized couch. That's it. We hardly ever sat in there. One morning I woke up sick. I told my mom, and she told me to take the day off from school and stay home. My siblings had to be at school, and my parents worked, so that meant I had the house to myself. I laid around in bed for a few hours until around 10:30 a.m., when I heard steady walking coming from the first floor. I thought nothing of it at first, as I just assumed maybe my mom went in late, like she did sometimes. I needed something to eat anyway, so I stood up and went downstairs to the kitchen. I made it about 3 feet in front of my kitchen's walk-in doorway when I locked eyes with, not my mom, but a 6-foot-tall man, wearing raggy and ripped-up clothes. I was frozen in fear. I just stood there. It was only for a few seconds, but it felt like hours had passed. The guy just stood there and watched me too, no expression or anything. I eventually pulled myself out of the shock and bolted for my bedroom upstairs. I didn't hear him following me, but I got into my bedroom and locked the door and moved my dresser in front of it anyways. I pulled out my phone, and instead of calling 911 like I should have done, I called my mom. I screamed into the phone, telling her someone was in the house trying to kill me. She told me not to leave my room for any reason and call the police, so I did. 15 minutes later, the police finally show up, as I could see through my bedroom window. I watched them enter the house before I left my room to run down to them for safety. I told them everything that happened. They did a quick search of the home and found nothing. Not a single person or broken window or door. My parents came home shortly after and were absolutely furious that the guy was not caught. I was extremely angry as well, but also relieved to be alive. The police began packing their things, but as one of the last officers was on their way out, he noticed a Walmart bag sticking out from under our couch. It was that damn couch in the side room. And well, what do you know? We found hundreds of trash bags and week-old rotting food under the couch, along with some other personal items like wipes, water bottles, and even a bag of piss. A fucking bag of piss. Whoever that man in the kitchen was had been living under our couch for weeks. I can't comprehend how none of my family members smelled any of the garbage that was piled up under there the entire time. The fact he never made a single noise under there also baffles the hell out of me. We've since cleaned that room out completely and turned it into a breakfast nook with wooden chairs, so no more shitheads can break in and find free housing in them. I go off to college in a few months, so I won't have to live in fear of that incident happening again much longer. But I still think about it every time I wake up with a cough. Recently, I got back into contact with my cousin, let's call her C, and someone had been creeping around her property. My cousin and her dad live in a rural area with few people, and they are farmers. They also have a family friend who lives near them who also is a farmer and helps with their cows. A couple weeks ago, a strange car parked in the middle of the road. A tall man got out and was dancing around the fields behind her house and singing. This was around 3 a.m., and her father was out at a barn with a family friend, taking care of their cows. The strange man soon came to their front door and started loudly knocking on it. C had locked all the doors and windows in the house so he could not get in. She had also locked herself in the room and had just texted her dad. Her dad and the family friend were coming back to the house to investigate when the man went over to C's window and tried to open it. C had noticed this and locked herself in the attic. Once her father and their friends saw the man, he ran back to his car and drove away. On Easter, we saw a strange car parked in the middle of the road, and C confirmed it was the same car. We stayed away from it, and it drove away. Hopefully we can figure the situation out. If anything new happens, I will give an update. I would like to remain anonymous, if it's all right with you. But know that I am a YouTuber who reads scary stories, and I'm quite successful. I do not mean to sound cocky, but I think that is why I am where I am today, in a world of hurt. It started Halloween night 2 years ago. I just started my live stream. Everything's going smoothly. I'm saying hi to everyone popping into the chat. Everyone's in the Halloween spirit, and I start the first story. I'm about 2 minutes in, and in the corner of my eye I notice someone in the chat type in capital letters, "Hey baby, hey baby, I know where you live, and I'm outside right now." I stopped reading and just stared at my computer screen. Now I wasn't too concerned yet, because they didn't at me when they said it. But just as I was about to continue reading the story, they said the same thing 5 more times. Well, this was getting ridiculous now, I thought. So I won't be saying this person's real YouTube handle, because they're still out there, and I don't want to give them the satisfaction. So I'll call them Crazy Darla. So I said, "Who are you talking to, Darla? And why are you spamming up the chat with this nonsense?" She said, "I'm talking to you, sweetie. And I just wanted to let you know I'm outside and ready to finally meet you." I said, "What the hell are you talking about? I don't know you. I've never even talked to you. Hell, I've never even seen you in the chat before." She said, "I've been secretly hiding in the chat for years, saying a word here and there, nothing ever too much. You're my favorite YouTuber. I just love your voice. I know everything about you, my love. I know your age, what you look like, your phone number, your home address. I even know your mother's maiden name. I'm your biggest fan. Come on and open the door for me so I can say hello." I thought, my God, I have a stage 5 clinger on my hands. What am I going to do? Just then one of my moderators in the chat, who's my sister, by the way, kicked her crazy ass out and blocked her from the chat. Then everyone started asking, "Are you all right? Do you want me to call the cops?" I said, "No, hold on. Let me check and see if anyone's even out there. It's probably just some kind of sick joke. It's Halloween after all." So I got up from the computer and went downstairs. And just as I was about to go to the peephole, there was a knock on my front door. I stopped in my tracks. I thought, holy shit, she was telling the truth. How in the hell does she know everything about me? Just then I heard a giggle on the other side of the door. "I know you're in there," she said. "Please let me come in." I made my way over to the window in the living room to try and get a peek at what she looks like. Right as my hand reached the curtain, there was a loud bang on the window. I jumped back and shouted, "Jesus!" On the other side of the window, I could hear her giggle once more. I thought I'd bluff and yelled at her, "Get the hell out of here, I'm calling the police." Just then I heard a metal tapping come from behind me in the kitchen. I rushed in and saw 2 figures in my backyard, one by the kitchen sink window and the other by the sliding glass door in the living room. They both had sacks over their heads with 2 eye holes and a smile cut out for a face. They just tilted their heads to the side and looked at me without saying a word. I slowly backed into the living room. She banged on the front door again and said, "I brought some friends with me, and they want to play with you too." Well, fuck, I thought. I'm calling the police for real now. I'm calling the cops, you crazy bitch. You better get out of here. I don't believe you, sweetie. You said that the last time, and no one's here. Just then there was a loud crash in the kitchen. The two in the back were coming through the window. I thought, damn, I have to get out of here. I ran back upstairs to my room. The operator was on the line with me by now. I explained everything to her. People were at my house, and they're breaking in. Please hurry. Said they're in the house. I don't have much time. She said, where are you in the house, sir? I told her my room. She said, barricade the door if you can. Officers are on the way, and stay on the line with me. I said, okay, and I locked my door, and I pushed a dresser in front of it. Just then my phone beeped twice and went dead. Damn it, I forgot to charge it. I ran and sat down at the computer and told everyone what was going on, and if I died, to give the police the screen name of the person who did this. Just then the lights went out. Oh my God, they cut the power. What the hell has taken the cops so long, I thought. They should be here by now. Right at that second, they started to break down the door. The wood was splintering. Any second they would be in. I heard one of them say, it's Halloween, we want to play. Wood was flying everywhere. A hand reached through the hole and tried to unlock the door. Finally, I heard the sirens down the street. Sweet Jesus, I thought it's about damn time. The pounding stopped. I heard footsteps running down the hall. Then the front door opening, and the cops screaming, get down on your knees. The cops were inside now. I heard one of them say, is anyone here? It's the police. It's safe to come out now. I breathed a sigh of relief. I got up, moved the dresser, opened the door, and went downstairs. I walked outside where the officers had two dudes handcuffed on the lawn. I looked around and said, where's the other one? The officer said, what other one? There was a girl here. There was a girl with them. She started all of this and was stalking me. No one else was here. These were the only two. I proceeded to show them everything she said in the chat and told them everything she said at the door. But nothing helped. She was a ghost. They couldn't track her down. There was no computer they could trace, no phone, and the guys she brought with her, just two junkies she met yesterday. She paid them to come with her. That was 2 years ago. No one has seen her. She never came back. I still have my channel. I still tell scary stories. And every once in a while, I'll see in a chat a female subscriber say, I'm your biggest fan. I just love your voice. And I'll wonder, is it her? Is she back? It's just a matter of time. She's still out there after all. And it's almost Halloween.